Welcome back, everybody, to the 8th episode of the Bacon Decker Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about our top 5 favorite video games of all time.
Mainly the video game series, I think, is what I went for, mainly. Yeah. I don't know what you went for. Kind of building off of top 5 Dream Vacations. Seemed like everybody was pretty happy with that. Just kind of, we got to hear some feedback from you guys on vacation trips you guys would like to take. So maybe some of you guys play games. I know a lot of the viewers on my side of things watch the streams and play some kind of video games, or maybe they played games growing up. So we're just going to kind of talk about our favorite series or games in general.
Yeah. So, what'd you get done today, or this week, rather?
Well, I didn't blow myself up for 4th of July.
Yeah.
That went well. As we talked about last week, we had to get together here at the house, or in the Brodown. We talked about it, and then, of course, you ended up not getting to come.
Yeah.
Got to go to New York, but, I mean, I'm sure you did a lot of cool things there. But 4th of July went well. We went to Gabby's family's for 4th of July, and then Thursdays when we had the Brodown video, as far as our shooting them off. So, two viewings of fireworks. We had a lot of fun. After lighting them Thursday, when we went and sat and watched them Saturday, I had more fun lighting them than I did actually sitting there watching them. I didn't think I was going to be that way. I thought I would have more fun watching them. But I had a lot of fun lighting them and just trying to figure out how you're going to schedule them. I guess it's kind of like YouTube, like you schedule things, you want to make sure everything's on a schedule.
Yeah.
So when I started opening everything, I was like, well, we're going to shoot this many off of the mortars, then a cake, and then this many, like I had it like scheduled out. So everybody said it went well. Her family's was huge. They had a lot more than we did. So they obviously had a better show, but it was awesome. They have the pool set up by their house, so we were actually poolside watching the fireworks go off, which was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
You don't have all the mosquitoes and everything attacking you, more or less. And then started my new job at Pepsi. I talked a lot about it last week. So this week I worked 48 hours my first week. It was mainly on trucks. Really all on trucks, helping truck drivers. So I was following the semi driver because of COVID. We can actually not ride together in the semis. Oh. So I've got to follow in my personal vehicle, which is fine. I get mileage either way. To follow them to the stops, I went to through Bowling Green, Glasgow, Scottsville, Franklin, all kinds of places. So it's not just all in Bowling Green, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you got your trip to New York and anything else?
So, trip to New York, that was pretty awesome. Left Wednesday, and we got to hang out for 5 days up there. We went to the Buffalo area. That's where my aunt and uncle lived. Got to kind of pal around up there. Found out that, like, no matter what, you got to wear a mask everywhere you go. It doesn't matter. It's just...
Do you have I didn't even really ask you since you got back. Did y'all have, like, any trouble getting there? Didn't you get stopped or anything along the way?
No, honestly. So it wasn't too bad of a trip getting up there. And coming down, it was surprisingly, like, quick. Mm-hmm. Like, we made record time getting home, it seemed like, which is insane considering it was a holiday weekend.
Nobody really went anywhere, though, to my knowledge. Like, I heard a lot of people, like, they bought fireworks this year, and they didn't have shows anywhere.
Yeah.
So there was no get-togethers, really. So everybody just kind of stayed at home and did their own thing.
Yeah. So I think that definitely contributed to it. The only traffic we hit was for, like, I'd say maybe 5 minutes when we were trying to cross the bridge from Ohio back into Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And that was just, like, there's, like, a couple lanes closed, and that's why there was traffic.
Gotcha.
Once you cleared the bridge, it was like you were back on the highway. But yeah, it was a fun time up there. Got to spend some time with some family, and.
But you hadn't seen them since, I think we said in the Brodown, like before you left.
Yeah, like I hadn't seen them in 8 years.
Wow.
So.
Yeah.
That was definitely an overdue vacation and getting to see them. We did a little show of our own up there. Fireworks are different, so. You're not allowed to have, like, projectiles that shoot up into the air.
Really?
Yeah, like, I guess aerial fireworks or whatever you want. Cakes.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to have those. So everything that we were allowed to have couldn't, like, they had to be, like, fountains, or they had to be, like, little fireworks.
That makes sense, though, with all the tall buildings. You can't really...
Yeah, well, we were still out in, like, a rural town, and, So,
but, like, state law, I guess.
Yeah, state law. Because New York City rules the show up there. It doesn't matter. Like, If it's not allowed in New York City, it's not allowed anywhere else. Which is insane.
Yeah, because it's a lot of people think of New York and think it's all one big city, but there are rural areas.
Yeah, upstate is like huge. There's so much more to explore up there. We got to go to Niagara Falls. That was my second time going there.
I've seen some pictures.
So that was fun. We got to ride on the Maid of the Mist, which that was my first time doing that. So that was cool. We got to go right up next to the falls and just get pelted with water, so it was pretty neat.
Is that kind of like is it on Bruce Almighty where he gets in there, he's on there or whatever?
Just gets soaked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really like that. That's what I said when we were getting on the boat. I was like, this just reminds me of Bruce Almighty. But I know when we go to the escape room.
Went to the escape room right before you left, didn't you?
I think so.
It was the Sunday after 4th of July. I remember the weekend was so hectic because it was like my last weekend off before.
It wasn't the Sunday because I didn't have to work the next day. I think it was the Sunday.
Saturday. It was Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the Saturday before I left. For New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that was cool
Scattered
too.
Rain, yeah, that was a whole experience, which you've been to before. Gabby and I had not been to one, so that we were newbies, I guess you could call us, because we didn't know how they really. I mean, I've heard about them, but I didn't know how they really worked, as far as like the lock mechanisms and the codes and everything. Yeah. So I guess all of them are different too, depending on where you go.
It really does depend, because for some places there's actually a key, other places there is the keypad and stuff like that, and all the puzzles are always different and they're fun. And I've done 4 now. That was my 4th one, but 2 out of 4 now is my record. And
yeah. No thanks to us. I honestly had forgotten about it because I just put it in my mind that I don't want to think about it. But like I was so disappointed in myself because we were 2 puzzles away from getting out.
Yeah, we were so close. We were figuring it out, especially right there at the end, the last 10 minutes.
And there was some kind of blame game on what happened as far as like. Obviously, William and I kind of bonded and was like, okay, let's do this one. And then Gabby and Krista were both like, let's go do this one. And I think what happened is we skipped a step somewhere. Yeah. Whether it been 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, like there's 5 numbers to get out. I think they had worked on one ahead of, or we had. I think there was.
I think there's a big lack of like organization to it.
Because I think we would have been fine if we had went from step 1, 2, like it would have clicked for one of us. They're like, okay, this is what this goes to. But when you're in a room and you've got all of these codes and all of these like different like objects in the room, they want to look at them. You want to look at them and try to figure out what is this? Does this go to something? Because they throw some of the keys and the locks right in your face, kind of thing for the room. We did the escape room of a jail cell or a haunted jail. I don't want to give any details as far as the room because if you're in the Bowling Green area, definitely check it out. Or if you've been to escape rooms, definitely let us know your favorite and like good places to go. Because I had a blast. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it was an hour's worth of time for it's like $40 for the two of us and 2 of you. Yeah. Right, each. So about
$22 per person. The place is Conundrum Workshop. So if you're in Bowling Green, it's out on Russellville Road.
Right in front of Rose's in the Priceless section. Because we thought it was in the actual shopping center, and it turned out to be in front. So we drove around the parking lot. I was like, where is this at? Because I was expecting it to be a bigger building, I guess.
It didn't help it was dark, too. We went late at night. So
we actually had the last appointment for that night. Because what did we do that before? Oh, we went to Gabby and I took my nephew to a birthday party for one of her friends at work. Her boy was... it was his birthday, so we went to a birthday party, and right after that, we dropped Lucas off, and then went to the workshop or the escape room.
That whole thing was just kind of on a whim too.
Yeah, you called where I was like, well, we got Lucas until this late, and you're like, well, will they have him until? I was like, I'm fine with it because I don't have to work tomorrow, so I was like, all for it. So, man, I'm trying to. It seems like this week's just been a blur because of just so much going on. Man.
Yeah, definitely a lot of time just flew by. I know being up there in New York was just incredible to get some time off from work because I've been kind of needing that here recently, and then getting to see family I hadn't seen in so long was pretty awesome.
This was your first time off at UPS, right? Yeah. You hadn't had any time off, I don't think. So I took a couple weeks while I was at Clark off. But before that, I took a vacation sometime last year, but I don't even remember. I didn't do anything, I don't think. So, especially during the COVID stuff, I feel like it has just dragged work-wise. Like, I feel like I've been at work for years. As far as just, I don't know, it's different now working in the public and with people. It seems like the week's dragged on, and I haven't had a break at all. But, I mean, I have. It feels like it's dragging. But,
well, you ready to hop into it?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we're going to need some time for these as far as, I felt like we were kind of rushing through the vacations, and just because we had so much to talk about. So I think this is definitely going to be one of those where we want to discuss each, because we have not disclosed our list to each other. Yeah. So we have no idea what each other put down, other than I feel like some of them are probably going to overlap. But I did mine in order from least to favorite for now. So it would have been different if I put my list, I guess, a year ago.
Yeah.
So this is right now the top 5 I could think of that really
just came to mind.
Yeah, and did have a part of my life for quite a while. So
yeah, I have games on my list that have specific memories, really good times attached to them, and kind of also the games that kind of fostered me as a young child.
Where do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Do you remember who went first in the vacation?
I do not. I don't. Right. You did. Yeah, I remember you talked about the Crossroads place. Turkey. Yeah. Okay.
So you go first this time, then.
Because it threw me for a loop when you said turkey. I was like, I did not expect this one to be on the list. So I was all about I'm going to figure out why he would want to go there. First one on the list is probably a fan favorite for some of the people watching. If you've watched years and years ago, is Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5.
Good pick.
Grand Theft Auto 5 was the pivotal moment for when I wanted to do YouTube gaming. I did some horror games, and I did some Guitar Heroes, but the Grand Theft Auto was the only one I played with friends, and it was like GTA with friends.
Yeah,
it's
I remember that.
Quality was terrible. I had some of the worst equipment back then, but they're still up to this day. As far as you can go back and watch them, and you can hear just the age difference and the quality. I take pride in what I've gotten to now, for sure. I've seen the progress.
Yeah.
I had stuff on YouTube before what's on as old as my channel is. I deleted it though because it was so bad to me. I felt ashamed of it, which the older stuff is still bad, but I refuse to delete it just so one of these days I can look back and be like, this is where I started.
Yeah.
But Grand Theft Auto 4, I played a lot before YouTube, but we did mods on it. Hunter actually got his Xbox 360 modded. My brother had it modded, and he had a mod menu so that he could fly through the air online, or you could spawn stuff in, go through walls.
Did GTA 4 have online?
Yeah. Oh. That was the one with the, we used to just do see who could destroy cars the most. So we'd go to the airport and just ramp cars and destroy them and try to make the jumps. And then there was a swing set glitch. I'm sure anybody that's played Grand Theft Auto 4 knows. You drive the car into it, and it flings your car back, and it just, you go across the map sometimes. So that was really what we did on there. But Grand Theft Auto, for just YouTube purposes, those were the most fun to edit. The one when we restarted the series, which I think was the only one we did because of just me going on and off of YouTube. It was the first one when we come back. I did a really good intro. I thought it was really good, and then the editing, the memes and stuff in it. That was when I was trying to
Well, you're trying to
get
better,
yeah.
More,
and learn the software that I was using. So that was just. If you haven't seen those videos, definitely worth checking out. At least just to laugh at, more or less. Just we were so young and dumb, really.
Yeah.
So, but that's number 5 for my list.
So before I start on my list, I do want to say all of these games that I put on here are out of the series that they're in, because I love all the series, and so I just picked my favorite game out of them, because it was easier to do that than to be like, well, I like this game, but also like this game and this.
I guess the same sense for my Grand Theft Auto, because I played the Vice Cities and stuff on or PlayStation 2, but I didn't include them. I just chose the best one.
So my number 5 on the list is part of a series that covers basically the butterfly effect, right? Mm-hmm. So it makes you play as several characters, and you choose you make choices for him. So it's either A or B.
I already feel like I know which one this is.
And sometimes you, depending on the choice you made, will affect something later down the road. So for me, my number 5 is Until Dawn.
I knew it was going to be that one because you've been wanting me to play it since you've played it.
Yeah. I actually did not play it when it first came out. I played it a couple years ago when I was first living in Japan. It was so cool because I love horror movies, right? And everything about that game says like horror / slasher movie.
Yeah.
So anything that's like scary, I like. However, I can't sit through games like Outlast because I get so nervous and I just can't focus and play it.
Yeah.
So, like for instance, my first time playing Outlast, you first get in the building, you see a couple scary like images run past the screen, but then I'm walking and you open up this first door and the body drops and hits you in the face. Couldn't play after that. So it just gave me too much anxiety.
I got past that point on the YouTube, but then I'm the same way. They just make my heart race. Like some of those are just, I guess because I'm not experienced enough to play them, I'm just freaked out.
Well, there's a difference between watching scary movies and playing scary video games too.
When you're in control of it.
Yeah, so scary movies, it's very passive, so you kind of just sit there and you watch what goes on. But scary video games, you're actively participating in it, so you're, I guess, a little bit more paying attention, a little bit more involved, and so it makes it feel more like it's happening to you personally.
Yeah.
But Until Dawn, the reason I love it so much is, I love horror movies, I love scary movies, so... And it followed the genre to a T, every kind of typical thing that happens in a scary movie, especially like a 90s like slasher film or a early 2000s slasher film. That's kind of what they were going for. The storyline is so good. It has a couple famous actors in it.
I didn't know that.
So, and they look like themselves and they voice the characters and all that.
That's pretty cool.
So, it's just a really good game. I love the fact that you have choices to make, and that those choices affect stuff later on in the game.
And you have to make them quickly, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a certain time limit that you have to make the choice. Otherwise, you'll either die or it'll make the choice for you. So, for instance, in one of the choices, you can choose to go, I think it's like down in this mine, or you can go up and around on this path. Well, if you choose to go down in the mine, you'll like find some extra clues to the story, and you'll find that there's like a killer down there, and he starts chasing you and stuff. It's just a cool concept for me.
I remember when it came out. I like watching. I think the first couple of moments on YouTube, and people just praised it because it was just a well-created game and a full experience. And nowadays, you get games where they throw something at you, and then you have to get the season pass and more builds on it. But that was like one of them that was it.
Yeah,
that was the game they worked on.
Their most recent game is Detroit Become Human, and that honestly fought Until Dawn, and so the only reason I picked Until Dawn is because I have that love for scary movies. But honestly, Detroit Become Human, the graphics are fantastic, the storyline's amazing. The amount of choices that you can make that affect different things in the game is far greater than Until Dawn.
They're just built on it, really.
Yeah, so I definitely suggest playing all their games, Until Dawn, Beyond Two Souls, Detroit Become Human, and there's another one that I'm forgetting.
I'm not sure which one it is.
But check out all these games. I can't remember the studio's name either, but definitely look into them. They're worth the purchase. Until Dawn was free on PlayStation for like a month, I think last year sometime. So definitely worth it. You're not going to get as great graphics as you do nowadays, but that's to be expected. You can overlook that because the games are fantastic. So that's my number 5.
Number 4's? Oh man, I don't remember. Honestly, I just looked at them. I put Diablo 3. And the reason I put Diablo 3 is it took a lot of time out of my life. As far as Diablo 3 was my World of Warcraft because I was too young to play World of Warcraft as far as when it came out. So Diablo 3, the way that game plays and how long it takes to beat it, and then just to keep building your level up and to keep playing. It has that grindy feeling, which I love in a game. the reason I don't stream any Fortnite or like I played Call of Duty, I've played Fortnite on stream some, but the reason I just don't stick with them is because that restarting mechanism or mechanic and having to loot and look for stuff every single game, I don't like.
Yeah.
I like any kind of game that builds on the character and makes you feel like a badass by the time you get to the end. Whereas like all the Fortnite stuff, you die, you start over. So I can never get into it because I just like kind of like Until Dawn. Like I like the character development and the build up to the game than just starting fresh over and over. So Diablo 3, I played with you some, didn't I? We played a little bit at your house.
I played with you for like 10 minutes maybe, and it's not my kind of game.
Right.
I don't, especially it was overhead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't like that overhead gameplay.
And I didn't really either. Diablo was not. I played a couple other ones. I can't remember the names of them. They're kind of like B-rated titles or whatever. Yeah. Just kind of like somebody making an indie game of it. But then Diablo 3 was like the Hunter played it with me for a long time, and he was not a fan of those types of games either.
Yeah.
Austin, Dylan, a lot of other guys played it, and they actually ended up liking it compared to that overhead style. But then you get more difficulties, and I think they still add difficulties to this day. I actually don't play anymore, but I think I was like on Nightmare 11. I think there's just so many difficulties, and it just keeps getting harder and harder. You got to keep finding more loot and better loot each time you play through.
Yeah. So
that was my pick. It's nothing crazy. I don't know why it trumped the YouTube one and the Grand Theft Auto, but I don't know. Just like Diablo 3 was. I remember coming home during the summer and playing for quite a while that day, that night.
I do remember that you would play it frequently.
Yeah, and I mean, I was just doing riffs and run-throughs. I would YouTube like better builds and stuff because I'm not one of those guys that look at the stats and know which ones are really the best of each.
Yeah.
So I would be watching YouTube videos, and to this day I still have saved playlists of best builds for Diablo 3 that are from guys from years ago. It's probably not even the best builds anymore because they've probably changed the stats and stuff. They do that sometimes to nerf them or beef like up characters. But that's my number 4 for sure. Nothing too crazy, but I don't know. It's just a really fun game. If you haven't played it or any of them, I think Diablo 4 was announced this year. So I don't know. I haven't really kept up with when it's coming out, especially with the COVID stuff going on. I don't know if it's still on schedule or not, but definitely will be one I play.
Yeah.
And probably take a lot more of my lifetime.
All right. Well, my number 4 comes from a big chunk of my childhood. Okay. So as a kid, me and Hunter Foster, who we've talked about before in the podcast, we lived real close to each other. We hung out quite often, and we were big professional wrestling fans. Big professional wrestling fans. Like, any time that we were together, at some point, we were going to be wrestling, or we would watch wrestling, or something like that. We loved it. It was like an enormous part of my childhood growing up. So, my favorite of the early, the WWE SmackDown games is the series I'm pulling from. But it's WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. And it was the first WWE game that I had. And it was for PlayStation 2. So, because I love wrestling so much, it was kind of like, this is when I first had like a PlayStation. I was first getting into video games. I could play as my favorite character, my favorite wrestlers, and I could go through, and there was a story that the game followed, but there was also things in between the storylines, so like early side mission things that would be, or what would be considered a side mission. You would talk to like a wrestler backstage or something, and that would lead you to face him in the ring or something, and then you could go backstage in a match, and you could fight back there, and there's a bunch of goofy stuff that you could do, like you could go to like in the middle of the street and you could fight and cars would hit you, or you go up and there'd be like a trash can that you could pick up and hit them with a trash can, and just goofy stuff like that. There was they said, looking back, they said it was like an Easter egg in the game, but you could climb up like the entrance, like there's a big entrance wall, and there's like, for the SmackDown entrance, there's like a fist that comes out of it. But you could climb up the entrance wall and get onto the fist, and you could fight up there, and if you fell off, it hurt you real bad or something. So it was just fun to do that. The reason I picked that one is because they call it season mode, but it's the career mode. You pick a wrestler, you go through, and there's a draft at the very beginning of the game. So you don't know which brand you're going to be on, whether it's Raw or SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's all randomly generated. So they always pick like the same first person because there's ranking in the video game of who's the best and who's the worst. But then whoever you pick will get drafted, and there's all these preset champions, and you can face them and beat them if you want, or if you don't beat them, you don't get the title. But just things like that. It was so I want to say ahead of its time because it was kind of open world, but at the same time it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could, there was a story you had to follow, but the cool thing about the season mode is you could play it as long as you wanted. It could go, it would cycle, so it would be a whole year, and it would say year 1, and then year 2, and then year 3.
That's pretty cool.
And you go to pay-per-views and you do different things. Of course, the story itself didn't usually go past the first couple years.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that's what I'm recalling. But then you could still play as that character and do different things and still interact, and there was more stuff to figure out. So that's why it was my favorite. It was kind of just interesting to play as my favorite wrestlers and then get to make them do things that I think they should do.
I never got into wrestling, honestly. My dad,
which is surprising, It's a big thing down here in the South, professional wrestling. So
I think the reason I did get into it is just because as we did get older, Dad watched UFC.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd be like, oh, there's wrestling on or something. He's like, it's fake. That's like the first time I ever seen it on TV. I'm pretty sure to this day, if I can remember correctly, Dad walked through and he goes, all that's fake, right? And I was like, what's the point then? Why is it all fake? I don't get it. I'm like, there's no way that's fake. I'd watch him hit him. I'm like, that looked like that really hurt. So there was like that in between. I'm like, nah, this is real. There's no way. He's lying to me, just messing with me. And then we watched a fight with him, an older fight of UFC, and I was like, this looks real. These guys are beating the life out of each other.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what fights they were, but we were definitely younger than we should have been probably watching UFC. So we were more of the UFC MMA stuff as far as growing up, watching it with him than the wrestling. I think that was why, just because so quickly it was like crushed. It's like, I hope no kids are watching this, but like when you find out about Santa Claus, it's like you're like, no, there's no way. But then as you're like, no, that makes sense. And you're like, no, that's there's no way that he can go around.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and looking at it, it's like, how the heck, are these guys
are so believable,
surviving all these things? And of course, it's because there's a safe way to do everything, and it's all kind of.
I do respect it as far as like it is an act. Honestly, it's almost like a play or something.
They're basically stuntmen at the end of the day,
Yeah, I mean, and they do get hurt. They have been killed and hurt doing stunts. It's like you said, you have to practice and make sure you do everything safely.
Yeah, there's a correct way to do everything, just like anything else.
And anything can go wrong in any event or stunt. I guess on to number 3.
Yeah.
Number 3 is very close to the heart, and I feel like it should have been number 1. Guitar Hero.
Oh.
For me.
I should have guessed that one.
Guitar Hero. I put Guitar Hero 3 because that was the one that I really played a lot. But to this day, I have Guitar Hero 1, 2, Rock the 80s, 3, 5, World Tour, Aerosmith, Metallica, and there's another one I'm not. Guitar Hero Live. I have all of those for sure, and I feel like I'm still missing 1 or 2 somewhere in there that I didn't remember. For PlayStation 2, I have the guitars in the other room, like in storage, and I have all the games in a binder. It's the only games I have for PlayStation 2, really, because or other than the ones that are in their cases. But all the Guitar Heroes are in the folder because I would switch them out so frequently. Because you play all the songs on one, and you're like, well, I like the songs from this one, so you go play that one instead. Guitar Hero 3 was the big one I played. Obviously, the most. I think everybody played Guitar Hero 3 at some point in their lifetime. Like if you played any kind of like Guitar Heroes, that was the one I learned expert on. I actually learned hard on, and then I went to expert, and it was during the summer. I never played more than medium. Because I didn't like that switching from the blue to orange. Like it hurt my hand, so I just never pushed myself to do it. And finally, I know Guitar Hero is like not that hard to learn compared to like real guitar.
Yeah.
But to me, that summer, I trained myself to like, I would go into practice mode and play, and instead of failing, you could still at least play. So I got into the rhythm of it, and I mean, there's Guitar Hero videos on the channel. I'd love to go back and play them again. I haven't, just because of the copyright issues with the playing them on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But I have Guitar Hero Live for Xbox 360 or Xbox One. I believe it's on. I've got Rock Band now because it's just the one that survived.
Yeah.
It killed me when they said that Guitar Hero was like not making anymore.
Yeah.
And then with the Guitar Hero Live, which I wasn't happy with, I did beat it on, I think, hard. I didn't beat it on expert because it was different. You had 2 buttons up top and then 2 at the bottom.
Oh.
So you had to go this way instead. And as an adult, I guess I was like, nah, I'm not going to try to relearn. You know, you don't have as much time as a kid on a summer break. I was like, yeah, I'll learn hard expert.
Yeah.
I remember friends coming over, and I'm not the best. Like, I do miss notes and stuff, but I would beat some of the harder songs, and we would play the campaign through.
Yeah.
Well, we'd take turns on songs, and if you failed, the other person took a crack at it. And every time, Hunter Foster for sure can vouch for me, we would switch from guitar to bass every other song. He'd play bass, I'd play bass. And every time he played guitar and lost, he was so mad. He's like, damn it, now we're going to play it, and you're going to beat it. And like you're never going to let me live it down. We beat World Tour in one night. We stayed up all night until like 5 a.m. We played World Tour from start to finish.
Oh, yeah, all the way through?
Yeah. And it's quite the game to do that. For us, it was. We were like, I cannot believe we just beat that game in one night. But yeah, I would always be the one that have to beat the harder songs just because I don't know, it just clicked with me.
Yeah.
I was in band in middle school, and just the music to this day is probably like my foundation for anything.
Yeah.
So that was the Guitar Hero reason. And like I said, I can't believe I didn't put it at 1. Like, I could go back and play it right now. Rock Band 4 is upstairs on the upstairs
well, they're games
Xbox.
that you just can, you know,
Yeah.
because all you're doing at the end of the day is pressing some buttons and listening to good music.
Because they,
you know,
smartphones come out, they had a bunch of games where it's like tap and stuff. You would hit the keys or whatever to play songs, and
yeah.
I played those too, just because I do like that rhythmic pressing buttons to songs. Because like I said, music to this day, music is like what gets me through day to day for sure, and it goes from like one genre to the other through the day depending on my mood. So music is just a big part of my life for sure. So
Guitar Hero, I played 1, 2, 3, and World Tour. Those are the ones I know for a fact that I played, and I think I might have played Aerosmith too.
World Tour was the one that brought the drums and the mic into it.
Yeah.
That was
Because I think it came out when Rock Band came out, right? The first one?
It was like they were trying to compete to each other.
Yeah, which I mean, that's what it ended up happening, you know.
Rock Band got on the social level, so they come out with that store where you could buy new songs that come out, whereas Guitar Hero kind of really stuck to
what was
come
on
with
there.
it.
I actually had Rock Band. I got it as a kid, so it came with the guitar, the drum set, and the microphone, you know, because it came in that big case. And I didn't like that. I didn't like not Guitar Hero, but Rock Band nearly as much as I like Guitar Hero.
I think there's 2 people. There's definitely that like either they liked Rock Band or Guitar Hero, because I definitely don't. Like, I have Rock Band upstairs because it's the only one on Xbox One that I can
and
really
we've played
play.
that a couple times.
Yeah, but it is different. The either the lag time or the way the buttons are pressed, the guitars are different. There's just something different about it. Maybe it's just because I was a kid and remember it differently, but Guitar Hero holds a special place for sure.
And I definitely agree with you as far as your pick goes. Guitar Hero 3, that is like the cream of the
fire
crop.
and flames, man.
Yeah. Dude, I tell you what, and of course I was terrible at Guitar Hero. All right, I was terrible. I mean, I never got past
You would
medium.
play medium.
And medium is still hard for me.
I remember bringing the guitars over to your house, and we would play. We'd get in trouble for it being too loud because we'd pick songs we really, really liked.
Yeah, and then we turn the volume up and be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
You know?
And you would be on medium and I'd be over here on expert. You would like look over and like, how are you like doing that?
Yeah, because I'm watching the scrolling and just zoom past, and I'm like, I don't have reflexes that quick.
I did go to Hyperspeed 1, I think, right before I stopped playing a lot, just because it sped it up just a little bit to kind of really flow with the music. For the faster songs, I actually did better because I felt like I was going faster than what the board was coming down. So I bumped it to Hyperspeed. But yeah, that's for sure. Like I said, I don't know why it didn't make it number 3. I know why it didn't make it number 3 or number 1 because of me making the list now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going off what I'm really enjoying now.
Yeah. My number 3, it's kind of pretty simple. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it, but the reason it's number 3 is because, first of all, I was really into skateboarding as a kid.
Oh.
I don't know why. I think it was just, that was the kind of culture I was into. And skateboarding culture, when I was a kid, is different from how it is now.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So, in my day, I sound like an old man, but in my day, skaters wore baggy clothes, and they didn't give a crap about anything, and all they did was skate, and, I just thought that was so cool. One of the first video games I ever owned was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Oh, I knew it.
But that's not the one I picked.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Out of all the Tony Hawk games, my favorite one was Tony Hawk's Underground.
Underground was good, yeah.
And the reason I loved Tony Hawk's Underground was because of the story. So before then, all the pro skaters, there wasn't a story. There was a certain amount of objectives that you had to complete in a time limit, and you had a time limit to complete objectives. And then if you didn't complete those objectives, you had to start over, and you didn't have to start over the whole checklist, but you had to start over
the ones you missed.
Yeah, and do the ones you missed. Those were cool games. You went to different levels and you got to skate different areas, and it was definitely versatile. And they did have some type of like little thing in each level that was kind of neat, but it didn't compare to like having that story mode of Underground, where you started from like this wannabe pro skateboarder, and then you go around and you get in trouble a little bit, and then you get to go to an amateur skateboarder competition, and then you get your first sponsor, and then you become a professional skateboarder by the end of the game, and you're beating your rival basically, which was at first your friend, but then he was trying to screw you over. And so I just liked the way the storyline worked. Underground 2 was cool because you got to, in the game, you interacted with the actual skateboarders, the professional ones like Bam Margera, Tony Hawk, and just all of them. And then American Wasteland was fun too because it was way more open. It was a large map you got to play on. You played all over
Didn't
Los
that
Angeles.
one have like special maps too? Like they were like exotic places?
That Tony Hawk's Underground 2 was.
Underground 2.
They had more exotic locations. American Wasteland was strictly in like the LA area, so you could go to East LA, you could go to Hollywood, you could go to Beverly Hills. I mean, you got to bounce around and kind of see like the major landmarks and stuff like that. And then it had a good story too, but I think Underground had like the best story, and it was just fun for me to play.
I'm surprised that you chose that, but I guess it makes sense to choose that one over Skate. I know Skate is. I thought when you were talking about skating, I was like, yeah, Skate. I've been sitting here thinking, I was like, man, I had a lot of fun on Skate.
It was hard.
It
was hard to choose.
But because you did the whole storyline, and Skate really does that. Like you kind of start from nothing, you build yourself up in it. So when you said that, I was like, Skate. This is all I can think of.
Yeah.
And the what is it? When you hurt yourself, what is it? The
Hall of Meat.
Yeah, Hall of Meat. That was where I spent most of my time at Skate because I couldn't skate even on the game.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a skater, so like I just enjoyed like seeing what the mechanics of the ragdoll, and I think Skate was kind of like the beginning of that ragdoll effect and hurting yourself, because shortly after it's like Happy Wheels blew up.
Yeah.
On YouTube and on the internet and playing that. Terrible graphics, but like it was a character customization, level customization of players that you had to go through these crazy obstacle courses, kind of like Wipeout, but then like just the simple graphics of like you go through it, you lose your head or something. It blew up. So Skate kind of was like my
leap into Happy Wheels. No, Skate's definitely more realistic. It had way better graphics, obviously because it was made later on.
It was building off of Tony Hawk's.
It was so much easier to do the moves you were trying to do in Tony Hawk's games than it was Skate, because Skate you had to use the joysticks to do all the moves, whereas on Tony Hawk's it was like triangle was the grind, square was to do flip tricks, circle was to do grab tricks, and then you just had the directional pad that you could vary the moves from. So Skate was just harder to play because you had to make sure you got your thing just right because you wanted to do a certain move, and if you didn't do it just right, it would do a different move, and then you'd be like, well, that's not what I was trying to do.
Right.
So, but I do still like the Skate games. Skate 2 was the best one in my opinion. Yeah. Skate 3, they took out a lot of the Hall of Meat features. They made it not as graphic, I guess,
Right.
which is stupid to me.
Yeah,
I like the Skate 2 Hall of Meat features, but
which I think there are rumors of Skate 4, but I'm not sure.
yeah, I've heard rumors.
I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but obviously it's a money grab. Like, go for it. Like, why wouldn't you? Especially in today's graphics, I feel like they could get so much done in a skate game nowadays. Yeah. On to number 2.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. This one is going to be these Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, yeah?
Modern Warfare 2. Like, I'm just going to say it because as soon as I said Call of Duty, I knew everybody's going to be like, Modern Warfare 2, that's the one.
Yeah. And it is the one.
It is the one. It's obviously now you've got Modern Warfare, and to me, Modern Warfare is just building off of what Modern Warfare 2 did. It's nowhere near the same, but like you look at what maps they come out with, every one of them's a Modern Warfare 2 map mainly.
Yeah.
It's like that they did something right there.
Mm-hmm. And they know they did, and so they're trying to be like, all right, let's go back and...
Yeah. I think everybody's super happy with it being boots on the ground as far as there's no wall jumping, wall climbing, flying through the air. Like, it's not Halo, okay? Mm-hmm. It's Call of Duty. I played Call of Duty 3 on PlayStation 2. Played quite a few of the ones afterwards. I can't remember the names of them. They were like on PlayStation Portable. They were like on DS. I remember there was one on DS. I can't remember the name of them. But anyway, I played the older ones. But Modern Warfare 2, the reason it's on the list is for the high school feeling.
Experience.
Yeah, it was right there in that pivotal moment when you would come home from school, middle school, high school. You get on with 5 of your buddies and you hop in a search and destroy match. And it's like you got one life. You got all of these people screaming in your ear that you're trash and they're going to bang your mom. And all of that negative, harsh, like, commentary. People that say the lobbies are bad now have no idea. I remember the lobbies being so harsh, and I think it was a good thing because honestly I was like, whatever, I don't care what they say. And it really gave me that mentality of like, if somebody told me they hated me right now, I'd be like, okay. You know, it's like, okay, I mean, sorry you feel that way, but it's not going to change my mood or my feelings. I mean, I think Modern Warfare 2's lobbies and things like that just kind of really hardened me as a person.
Yeah.
I was toxic, absolutely toxic. I mean, I think everybody can say that. But the maps, the game, the storyline.
The storyline.
Yeah, Modern Warfare, or Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, was good. And Modern Warfare 2 just drove it home as far as the storyline. And they remastered the campaign, and they would have come out with a remaster if it wasn't for the legalities of the situation. They would have come out with a solid remastered Modern Warfare 2, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I haven't played the remastered campaign yet. I'm watching the trailer, just gave me so many flashbacks. Their Spec Ops mode, I mean, everything about the game was awesome. I beat it on Veteran. But then Spec Ops, I want to say it was 76 stars. And I think I had 72. And it was like I was missing like a couple, something like that. It was like the super hard ones that just ridiculous difficulty. I remember spending hours and hours trying to beat the one that had like 5 juggernauts in it.
Yeah.
At the very end on Echo, I think it was what it's called. It's been so long since I played it, but
they just did it right at the end of the day.
And Modern Warfare 3 was a tearjerker for me. Like, I think a lot of guys, I don't know, like a lot of people didn't play it for the campaign, and I felt like they really missed it.
They missed it.
Yeah, there was such a strong storyline, and like, they were okay. I'm like, did you play the storyline? Did you play through it and experience everything from Modern Warfare 1 to 3, that storyline? Because when that happened, man, I was like, no. And then it goes from like, I can't believe this is happening, is, oh crap, they think I did it. It's like so quick, your emotions, and I really got into those. I got into Black Ops 1 as far as like storyline, and then from there it just...
Black Ops 1 and 2, because when you play as Mason's son, that was good, and you know, it has that little thing you figure out if you haven't played it. I'm not going to spoil it, but where you're playing as Frank in Panama, that's an interesting little, and you know, and Black Ops 2, they had the features where you could also make choices in the campaign that would affect things.
That's some pretty good actors too in those, and even in Modern Warfare 2, there's some really good actors that I don't think people realize that are in there. But yeah, just rock solid. Had to be on the list somewhere.
Yeah.
It landed on the number 2.
I mean, legendary characters. You got Ghost, you got Soap, you got Price.
Yeah, there's a reason they're bringing them all back for these season passes, and this is who they're offering, is because they know that's where their fans are. So I'm glad they finally fell back to it. I guess I'm going to do an honorable mention here for this one just because it falls on the same battlefield for sure. I don't know. I didn't want to put two shooters on the list, but man, Battlefield 3, the Battlefield Buddies and like Battle Buddies that we did, the series and just those missions, and on top of that, just Battlefield 3 for me was rock solid. I mean, I played 4, 5, 1, but 3 was the one that I was excited for, and I don't know how many hours we spent on Battlefield 3.
Well, it just so happens that Battlefield 3 is my number 2 on
Is
my
it?
list. Yeah, dude, Battle Buddies, playing this game with you, and Hunter, and your brother Hunter, and everybody getting us in there, playing. I mean, we'd spent hours, grinding this game to the dirt. I mean, I never played a game multiplayer-wise so hard.
We would get up. Do you remember?
Yeah, we'd get up early before school, and we'd play the game. As soon as we got off school, we'd come home and we'd play. Grinded this thing down. I was a level like 50 Colonel or something like that.
Yeah, because then I don't think it went past that. I want to say
it was a level 100 Colonel. You could be a level 100, but just it was so revolutionary. The destruction that you could do in that game at the time was more than you could do in any other game. Yeah, there was amazing graphics. That's when the Frostbite engine really took off for EA. And it even had a good campaign.
I like Battlefield 3's campaign a lot.
But, the multiplayer, you couldn't beat it. That's when they started expanding everything on console.
I want to say it was 32, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 32 people on the server. And that's when you could purchase private servers, no share canals.
24/7, no share canals was my place to be.
It was like 500 tickets and team deathmatch.
I was toxic on there for that.
And we would just grind that game. Oh, dude, I love that game so much. You have an idea because you played it with me. And doing Battle Buddies where we play the different missions. And
they're still up there.
And the Karg Island mission.
Karg Island was awesome.
Where we played.
The most memorable game for sure.
Because it was just so epic, and we weren't even trying to make it epic.
I remember us getting on, and we're like, well, we'll see what this game turns out to be. And it was like, it took so long.
And it was a 3-part video.
Yeah. Because, I cut it up into parts just because it was such a long mission, and it wasn't even a mission, it was just a normal multiplayer game. It was a constant battle back and forth. It was that perfect blend of they're taking a flag, we got to get here, and then we got to get there, and wasn't it like within tickets of losing or winning? I want to say it was
so close. I think,
and we did win. I'm pretty sure.
And I think the reason it took so long is because of the amount of tickets that
back and forth.
But no, definitely probably the best game of its time. Battlefield 3 is my favorite Battlefield of all time. You're not going to change my mind. Bad Companies were good. They weren't as
Bad
good
Company's
as
stories was good, I thought. That storyline they had was hilarious. Like the characters they picked, and there's the meme of like me when my teammates are like, all right, we got to be stealthy, and then they just walk out, chuck grenades. Like there's memes of the Bad Company. I'm surprised you didn't choose 1942. Because I remember you playing it a lot.
1943 is the one I played.
1943, yeah.
It definitely was because that was.
But it ponders on the shooter genre.
But it was so limited because it was only 3 maps on that. Because it was an arcade game, it was an Xbox arcade game. But there was only 3 maps. There was only 3 classes you could play as, and there was only 3 weapons.
Very limited. It's like they were like, well, let's see what happens if we throw Battlefield on the console and see. See if it does good.
But, Battlefield 3, best Battlefield. You're not going to change my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So much fun. And the campaign was good, but it was coming out after that Modern Warfare. So I was like, this is nowhere near the same. And they threw these characters at you so quickly, I felt like in Battlefield 3, that you couldn't really learn who they were and what mattered to them fast enough. Whereas in Modern Warfare, man, when you got into Modern Warfare 2's storyline, you picked up right where you left off with these characters that they built on. And then they just drove it home that game. There's like some tearjerker moments in Modern Warfare 2 for me, just because you're like, no way, they did that, huh? Like that's what a dirty dog. Like I'm sure you're thinking, I don't want to. If you have not played the Modern Warfare series campaign, definitely go check it out. I don't want to spoil it. If for some reason you missed it, maybe it's before your time. If you're into that story building, they just remastered it for. Xbox One, but if you haven't played the first one, you don't need Modern Warfare 1.
No, you do, because you learn more about Soap and his backstory because you play as Soap.
Yeah. So each one of them is that way too, it seems like.
But they remastered the first Modern Warfare, they remastered the second one just now, so go check both of those out if you haven't already.
And the Modern Warfare now that come out is a prequel, pretty much.
It's in between 1 and 2.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember. I remember the ending, and I was like, "Oh, they're gonna make Task Force 141."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, cool," but then, yeah, I guess it was based after. But we're pressed on time, so we're definitely gonna have to like
jump into these.
Obviously, right now, my number one is Minecraft because I can't express how much time I've spent on Minecraft the past couple of weeks on our offline server, and on top of streaming, like that's the game I've chose. And if you guys have watched the streams, it seems like I play a game for a couple times and I just don't stick with it. And Minecraft is the only one I've really been like, I want to hop on there, I want to make something and talk to the viewers and spend time with them, just because. Growing up, Legos was my thing. So like Minecraft to me, just an honorable mention, Total Miner was the indie game before Minecraft come out to Xbox. So I didn't play Minecraft. I still don't to this day play Minecraft on PC. I've always played it on console. Mm-hmm. When it come out on vanilla, like vanilla Minecraft on an Xbox, I had to go to my grandparents' house. At the time I was living with my mom. We didn't have internet. Mm-hmm. So I had to come to my grandparents' house, download Minecraft vanilla, and I took my Xbox back to my mom's, and I did no updates for months. Mm-hmm. So I played on this old basic game that had no new mobs, no new updates, like all the glitches, the dispenser glitches, and all of that was still on there. Mm-hmm. And that was just, I don't know, it's like Legos, virtual Legos to me. The building things and seeing what I could do and the limits. And back then, the worlds were not limitless. Mm-hmm. So you had this seed you spawned into,
one map,
and what you had is what you had. So if you didn't get a village or you didn't get a...
There was no villages when it began.
Not when it first began, but I remember getting the village update and I had to start over because my original seed didn't have one. So you had to like look for a seed that had one, and that was your seed for a while. Obviously now they've made limitless worlds and stuff for the game, and the new Nether update just come out, and we've just been enjoying it. And like I said, right now that's the game to play. I don't know, something to me coming home, getting on there and building something cool. Hanging out with you guys, talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Just kind of, it's relaxing. It's therapeutic. Yeah. Even if it's just clearing dirt, I relax. It's almost like an OCD thing. If I need to clear out a field and I want to put a farm there, like that's just therapeutic to me.
Yeah.
So that's the number one. I feel like I know what your number one's going to be.
What do you think it is?
Just because of your shirt, for sure. Because as soon as I seen your shirt, I kicked myself. Because I was like, there's no way I forgot Fallout. And I was like, I forgot Fallout. I don't know what's wrong with me. But, so what's your number one?
Well, alright, so it's Fallout. I want you to guess which Fallout.
New Vegas.
Yeah, without a doubt, New Vegas. And which is crazy because...
There's not another one.
It's not just that there's not another one, but Obsidian made it. It wasn't Bethesda, it was Obsidian. You know?
Yep. So,
the company that wasn't normally making the game made the best one.
In our opinion, for sure.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of people's opinion. You can look it up, but...
There is definitely a debate. A lot of people are like, nah, Fallout New Vegas wasn't good. Fallout 3 was good. I'm like, man, that...
It's like, no. Fallout New Vegas, they added the aim down sights feature.
Yes.
They had a storyline that was so dynamic.
And huge for that time, too.
I mean, there was so many factions at the time that you could be a part of, and there was... the endings that you could get, I don't remember, there was like 7 endings or something like that.
Yeah, as far as like overall, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could end the game in so many different ways. There were so many choices you had, and of course, if you haven't noticed the trend on my list, having a game that you can interact and have, a story and it's dynamic and things like that, I love that. So, without a doubt, I mean, the things that you could do in New Vegas, the story itself, my favorite game.
Yeah, the characters that they threw at you, you actually cared about too. You wanted to know their stories a little bit.
Yeah.
I've played Fallout 3, New Vegas 4, and I've played Skyrim. I think Skyrim's a good mention too because they really kind of based it off of the Fallout vibe. I'm surprised Skyrim didn't make my list. I stood in line for the remastered version all night.
Yeah.
It's right here on the background is the literally the special edition book that has like every dungeon in Skyrim.
Yeah.
I left them out. I don't know. I guess I blanked, but I really don't play them anymore. But they do hold a special place for sure. Just playing wise, I don't know how many hours between Skyrim and New Vegas. I don't know how many times I beat New Vegas, to be honest with you, because I would always take a different approach. I was the bad guy, I was the good guy, I was the neutral guy. I did all the side quest first guy. I did the main quest only guy. Like I was like, how many ways can I beat this game and experience it differently? And you learn where stuff is because it wasn't really random drops for a lot of stuff. So, unless you increased your luck or whatever I think it was. You increase your luck and you find like a ton of ammo and caps and stuff right off the bat. But like I remember getting the shovel and going up to the gravesite, digging up the revolver, getting the revolver right off the bat, things like that. Like New Vegas was the game.
And also,
why can't we get it remastered?
Or a New Vegas 2?
I would just take a remastered at this point. I can't tell you how many times I would beat it again, remastered, because I don't know if you experienced it. I'm sure a lot of people have, but the lag and the freezes, crashing, just going to the dam. The dam was notorious for crashing for me.
But the soundtrack.
Yes.
The soundtrack of New Vegas was the greatest soundtrack of at least the Fallout series, okay? But one of my top favorite soundtracks of all time.
Yeah.
The Tony Hawk games, they have great soundtracks. I'll tell you
true,
that.
Yeah.
But definitely the top 5 best soundtracks of any video game, in my opinion.
That type of music's just honestly
because you could listen to it forever, and it just fit everything. It fit everything that happened in the game. And
let's put it this way: the only game I can listen to with the sound on, music on, is Fallout.
Yeah.
As far as that's the only one I can stand music on. I've turned even Minecraft. I turn music off on Minecraft. I just can't stand music playing when I'm playing a game. Other than Fallout, I can literally just slay monsters all day or raiders all day long. Listen to any of the songs, honestly. But soundtrack. I like I said, I kicked myself for not putting it on the list, but I'm glad. I mean, I guess I was picking ones I knew I would get for sure, and that I could still talk about yours too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm surprised none of ours overlapped.
Yeah, they didn't, did they?
No, I mean, the only time it overlapped, of course, is when you mentioned Battlefield when you were talking about Call of Duty.
Yeah, but wow.
And I'm really surprised you didn't have Battlefield on there, because we were Battlefield guys. I mean, at the end of the day, we played Battlefield way more than we did Call of Duty. After Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, Modern Warfare 2, and then Battlefield 3 was my 2. That was my peak high school games, and then after that, it's like life hit me, and I just didn't play as much. I do remember buying Battlefield 1 pre-release and playing that night until 5 a.m. the next morning as an adult. That was the first. I bought 2 Mountain Dews, and I sat and played Battlefield 1 all night long when it first got released. And I thought it was a great game, and then I kind of just fell off of it. But I did enjoy Battlefield 1, just the immersiveness and that World War I feeling. But that's our list.
That's a fat podcast right there.
Yeah, it's
right?
going to be a little bit longer than expected, but not near as long as I thought it would take.
Yeah.
I guess we should have kind of... I don't know. It's
just there's so much to cover. We're so passionate about it. It's such a good topic for us. It's our personalities. We grew up playing video games together. So.
And there's so many games we left out growing up, too.
Yeah. Honorable mentions.
Super Mario Sunshine, for sure. Nintendo. Smash Bros. Melee on GameCube. I have my GameCube still with all my games. Huge moment of my life. Mario Kart, like all the Nintendo games. I kicked myself for not putting them on here. Yeah, I remember. I still have my Game Boy Flip, like the Game Boy Advance, or I think it's SP or whatever. Yeah. I did have one of the purple ones too. We would trade cartridges at school. I actually traded a Pokemon. I want to say Pokemon Blue, the original Blue, for 4 G.I. Joes.
Oh my god!
Yeah, a kid traded me 4 G.I. Joes for... No, I got Pokemon Blue.
Oh, okay.
But I've lost it. I don't know where it went growing up. But I did have Pokemon Blue. He's like, no, I got the other one. I don't need this one if you want to trade it for those 4 G.I. Joes. I was like, bet. So, your honorable mentions?
Rainbow Six, the Vegas game specifically. Vegas 2 was the best one.
We did the terrace hunts I don't know how many times.
And the customization you could do your character was just so neat to me.
Especially in that time.
The storyline was cool, and the feature that you could get up on the wall.
To grab, the rappelling.
Well, I mean, like, you could get in cover and then shoot around cover, which you could do that in Gears, but specifically, like...
First person, almost.
Yeah.
Well, was it first person or third person?
It was first person until you got in cover.
Oh, got you.
But what else? Call of Duty is honorable mention. It wasn't on my list because I wanted Battlefield 3 to be on my list, but Call of Duty does have a special place in my heart. I talked about how it kind of was my first leap into the military thing, so it definitely deserves
Medal of
some
Honor. I'm
love.
surprised you didn't choose Medal of Honor.
Yeah, that's another honorable mention. Medal of Honor and Medal of Honor Warfighter.
A lot of people hated Warfighter. I thought it was so good.
Well, so online, a lot of people didn't like it because
was
online.
rough.
But the storyline for Warfighter was incredible. Awesome. A lot of them were based on true stories. Each of the missions, the graphics were incredible when it came
I even
out.
liked the remastered Medal of Honor before Warfighter.
Yeah,
that storyline was really
well,
good.
it was connected. So, and definitely, I like, and all that is also based on real life stuff that happened. So, definitely honorable mentions.
Let us know what you guys played.
Yeah.
Even if it's, I know our families watch this. Even the old games. I remember playing Sonic, Mario. They were ahead of my time, but I do remember them. And I mean, that's what started
Super
all
Mario Bros. That was a good one.
Yeah, all the games that started video games and the ones we talked about would never have happened if not for those.
Yeah, those early games on the Nintendo, the first Nintendo, the Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo.
Oh, Conker's Bad Fur Day on 64. I still got it, and I seen one go for sale for $80 yesterday at the game store.
That's crazy.
I've got a copy of it, and I had the rare replay where you could play it on Xbox 360. I think it was, or on one. I can't remember which one, but I do have it on 360 or 64 still.
Crash Bandicoot, that's another one.
Yeah, they did the Insane Trilogy.
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet. I feel like I'm gonna rage quit if I play it though.
It's hard.
I've got it upstairs, but I
I
haven't.
don't remember
put it
how hard it was, but it's hard. But that's gonna be it for us. We're running way over on time, but
yeah, it was a fun one to do.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what these are for. Just getting that positivity out there and just talking to you guys and maybe relating to you guys as far as games go, or just talking to you guys about the first beginning of our weekly update for the week and how we've gotten through the week mainly. So yeah.
So I guess that'll be it. Until next time, leave some comments in the video, or if you follow us on social media, you can comment on our pictures or send DMs, and we'll answer them.
Yeah,
you can tell us about your favorite video games and kind of compare lists. So until next time, guys, we'll see you then.
See ya.